everyone, it's Samantha here. I hope you all are doing well. Today I just wanted to start doing short segments of different Bible characters and their traits. So today I want to focus in on Stephen. As some of you may know, Stephen was the first martyr, and I followed his life in Acts chapters 6 to 7 in the NASB version of the Bible if you want to follow along. And jumping right into it, Stephen was one of the 7 men chosen by the disciples to help in the distribution of food. So Stephen and the other 6 men were known to be men full of the Spirit, or pneuma, full of faith, full of wisdom, and to be men of just good reputation. So Stephen was called to ministry, or diakonia in Greek, which is active service or spirit-empowered service. And he basically became a deacon. As Stephen was continuing in his ministry and also preaching, these people came up against Stephen and accused him of blasphemy. And I found it interesting, though, in Acts chapter 6, verse 10, it says that these people were unable to cope with the wisdom Stephen used and the fact that he was empowered by the Holy Spirit when he was performing these miracles. They decided to drag him before the council. And I find it interesting with Stephen because Stephen's first defense wasn't to really defend himself, it was to instead preach the Bible. He demonstrated that he had biblical knowledge in sharing the lives of David, Moses, Joseph, and a lot of others. He also spoke boldly against the council. He told them that their forefathers had persecuted Jesus' disciples, and I think these people, the council and the false accusers, were just filled with so much pride and their need of having to be right and their closed-mindedness and unopened hearts that they just got very furious with Stephen and began gnashing their teeth or grinding their teeth at him and began to stone him. And again, Stephen's first response wasn't to defend himself or to call curses upon his accusers. It was to instead cry out to the Lord. And I think that's something so great that we can take from this passage, because a lot of times when we're in need or in desperate help, we may not call upon the Lord as our first reaction. We may focus in on the problem or say, why is this happening to me? But Stephen knew his calling. He knew what was happening to him, and he also just chose to focus his eyes on God in that moment and throughout his life as displayed in Acts. So Stephen said, Lord, receive my spirit, because I believe. He knew that he was about to die. And he also said something along the lines of what Jesus said when he died on the cross for humanity's sins. And Stephen said that, Lord, please do not hold this against him. So in him, he also had a heart of forgiveness. And if we jump back a little before that, Stephen says that he sees Jesus standing in heaven. And I believe that God really gifted him with that vision to see that moment. And then Stephen fell asleep. He went to heaven to be with Jesus. And if I could sum up Stephen in a few words, it would be that he was really just Christ-centered. He was surrendered and he was kingdom-focused. In fact, he was so kingdom-focused that what was happening to him externally with the physical and verbal abuse didn't affect him inwardly, because Stephen, he held on to the pure heart. He held on to what he believed. He held on to the power of the Holy Spirit, and he let the Holy Spirit empower him. And I just think that's a great thing, something we as Christians can strive for, because I know that it can be hard to forgive, and especially when you're in that moment, but Stephen did it just like that, and I believe that we can do that too. And to be up against something so harsh as stoning and to forgive in that moment, I think is really just a great character. But I do want to add on that a lot of Bible characters who have good character and who are brought before the councils, their reactions are the same. They instead speak biblical truths or defend biblical truths. They don't really defend themselves. And that's because the focus isn't on themselves, it's on their calling on God. I just want to share that all with you. Let me know if you have any thoughts about this, if you have something different to share about Stephen. Let me know in the comments below, and yeah, let's just discuss the life of Stephen if you want, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.